Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Gives in the Bank Recruiting Podcast, brought to you by BuckeyeScoop.com. I'm Marc Givler, joined as always by Bill Greene. It's another commitment edition of the podcast. Ohio State has landed Jermaine Mathews, a cornerback out of Cincinnati Winton Woods High School. This has been expected, I think, since he got his offer at camp a few weeks ago and he set this decision date. Obviously, we had some great live coverage there from Kevin Noon. So another big pickup for the Buckeyes. This is something that came together fairly quickly, Bill. I mean, obviously, Ohio State's looking for corners in this class. Mathews had a dominant camp performance, which I'll talk about a little bit here in a minute. But what have you seen out of Mathews, just from your film watching, or whatever else you've seen from him, and kind of your thoughts on how he fits into this class?
Yeah, with Mathews, there's a lot to like there. And I really liked everything, that Marc said in camp. All I'm seeing from Mathews is film. Never saw him in person. I wish I would have, but I wasn't there in camp that day. The size-speed combination is kind of reminiscent to me of Marcus Williamson when Marcus was, going into his high school senior year, and Chris Ash took one look at him and they offered him on the spot the day. And that's kind of the same way I see this kid, a guy that maybe they weren't sure of when he walked into camp at 9 a.m, but by 4 o'clock that evening, they had to have him and they jumped on him. The kid was going to go to Cincinnati. I don't think there was any secret about that. The Fighting Pickles had landed him over Kentucky. And I think Ohio State just felt he was too good to let go. This is DB class is so important to them this year. They're loading up on DBs. This should complete corner. They got their 4 corners now. Turn their attention to safety. Caleb Downs, of course, being the big prize there. And I think Caleb determines whether Damian Fagan ends up getting a seat at the table or not. I think if Caleb ends up committing to Ohio State, I think they're going to get Jaden Bonsu. They've already got Malik Hartford. Cedric Hawkins was the first commitment in the class. That gives you 8 DBs, which is a huge class, but they need them. Okay, there's a hole there. There were some recruiting errors along the way. There was some recruiting misses where they took nothing, and those coaches responsible for that are no longer here. So I get the 8 DBs. I really do. I think that's going to be their landing point. Really excited about this DB class. I really wish I had seen Jermaine Mathews, but I trust Marc so much that, I'm all in for that kid. If Ileano and Walton feel they have to have him, then by all means, you go get the guy you need.
No, I agree. I went into the camp performance with kind of an open mind. There's a lot of these 3-star type of Ohio kids that show up at camp, and most of them are going to go home without an offer. But I posted on the site before he had an offer. I said this is a dominant performance. I said this is a camp, or this is an offer worthy performance. I said 1,000%. If I knew nothing about Jermaine Mathews coming in the day, I would have told you this is a high 4-star kid who was the best defensive back at camp, and that's that. That was before he was offered. They did offer him later that day. So I'm not doing any revisionist history here. I'm not, being a homer. Before he was offered, I was live updating on our message board saying this is an offer-worthy performance. This was a Darren Lee type, Terry McLaurin type. Okay, yeah, I can see that they've probably got to offer this kid after what he did today type of performance. And then he goes to LSU and apparently does the same thing. Everyone down there said he was the best guy at camp that day. LSU offered him. Alabama offered him. How much of that was messing with LSU and Ohio State? And how much of that was real? I don't know, but I do know that LSU has quite a reputation with defensive backs, and they have a lot of options down there in the Southeast, and they offered this kid on the spot. He can run. He's got good size. He's very physical. I think it's a great pickup. I would have him maybe the second best corner in this class. I love Dejon Johnson. I've said that from day one. I think that kid's a superstar. But after that, I think Jermaine Mathews might be number 2 for me on their list. Bill, obviously this is the fourth cornerback commitment, third this week. They're done, right?
Yeah.
Why don't you address the Kormani McLean stuff that's kind of been out there? I know you've kind of,
No,
go ahead and
that
give us your thoughts on that.
Yeah, that just never took off. And, there was a week, was it in March or April, when Ennis and Tate and Cedric Hawkins and that crew, they all came to Ohio State. And Kormani was supposed to be with them on an unofficial visit. There were flight problems, which, there's flight problems every day in this country. That was legit. But he was supposed to come back like the following week with his mother. That never happened. And then the official visit is not going to take place. So, no, that is dead and has been dead for, a while. When he didn't show up with that crew and didn't come back the next week, and I think we're talking in April, that was the end of that party.
Yeah, it certainly looks like they're done at corner unless, unless there's some unforeseen type of attrition on the current roster that would necessitate a fifth corner, which would seem pretty extreme, or obviously if there's a decommitment. But the corners, obviously 3 of them just committed, so we're not putting them on decommit watch, within a week of committing. And Dejon Johnson seems extremely solid. I've not heard anything from him that would concern me. So that's probably it here. And from there, it's just kind of a matter of rounding out the safeties. So, do you think that, I guess we'll quickly talk about the safeties here. Most notably, Caleb Downs. Where are you at on Caleb Downs?
Yeah, I think Ohio State's getting him, and that flies in the face of my, Miami guys who think they know everything, and they generally do know everything, but I'm going against them on this one. They think the kid's going to Alabama. I think he's going to Ohio State. Now, I'm not shouting it from the mountaintop like I did with Tate and Ennis. If I was doing my recap on the website, I would say I have him to Ohio State in pencil. I'm not ready to go ink yet, and I'm certainly nowhere near permanent marker. But I think they're getting Caleb Downs. And again, this is me going against, some of my best sources in the industry. And everybody knows who those guys are from down there in Miami. They're on our videos a lot. And we're going to be in opposite sides of this one. I don't like being opposite those guys because they're right so often. But I think they're wrong on this one until I hear something different. Now, I'm rolling with Caleb Downs to Ohio State. And I think Caleb Downs coming to Ohio State eliminates Damian Fagan from the equation. So I think we would see Bonsu, Hawkins, Downs, and Hartford. 4 corners, 4 safeties, and life's good. And I think I would have Damian Fagan on standby, waiting to get a seat on the plane, and something would have to happen with those safeties ahead of him, to get him into this class.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I see it right now. It is interesting. You said you're going against your guys. I mean, I agree with them in the sense that I think it's an Alabama-Ohio State battle. I don't think he's going to Georgia. I'm talking about Caleb Downs, of course. I think I've always been told Ohio State or Alabama. This has been going back for months. Alabama and Ohio State. My pick's Ohio State right now. I feel a little bit better about that today than I did maybe a month ago even. Certainly not a lock, certainly not one that I'd want my life depending upon or anything like that. But I like what I'm hearing. I think the life after football, the NIL stuff, the kind of just that culture of that, these guys like Travion Henderson right now, they're getting these NIL deals. They're setting themselves up financially for life after football already. I think that type of thing appeals to Caleb. And I think Ohio State's doing a great job with that right now. So that's what I got. I agree with you. And And we'll see how it plays out because, Bonsu's got the August decision date. I think Caleb Downs is going to decide before his season kicks off. So we're looking at a July to mid-August, probably at the latest decision from Caleb Downs, probably in July sometime. So this is all going to move very quickly. But looks like they're done at corner now. And now it'll be about kind of cleaning up safety, linebacker, and D-line on the defensive side. We'll have another episode here in the next couple of days where we're going to go a little bit more in-depth, a little more broad on some of the other recruiting topics and things like that. But appreciate everyone kind of tuning in and doing this, listening to our instant analysis here of the Jermaine Mathews commitment, another big get for the Buckeyes, another talented player. And we will talk to you here soon in the next few days. Thanks for listening.